Okay, so this is the continuation of Doom Eternal, and this is part 14. There would have been more parts, but some days I just don't feel like recording everything by live. Some I just record it by PlayStation, and what I meant by that is like some days I just keep going, but the PlayStation doesn't allow for you to record more than an hour. So some days I just say, screw it, I'm not going to keep recording by PlayStation. So if I'm thinking to myself, how many times have I recorded by PlayStation? It's probably been 5 more times. So this video would have probably been video 19 or 20 if we were considering everything by the hour. But it's fine because most of Doom is just traversal and killing monsters in areas which aren't really part of the story or the mechanics of the game or weapon swapping and that stuff. That type of stuff is part of the first 25% to about 50% of the game, and everything after that is just you playing the game, because I believe you get the BFG around the half point of the game. So after the BFG there's nothing else. So yeah, just continuing the story. Probably going to keep it quiet for right now, and I'll see where I last left off. If it's more traversal, it's going to be annoying. That's the one thing I'm going to, I would say why I'll keep it at an 8.4 and don't give it like say an 8.5. After a certain period, after you got past the halfway period of the game, it starts to become tedious. And the only thing that's keeping the game alive is the story, the boss fights, and of course the modifications. Pretty much. That's why I'm keeping it at a solid 8.4. But if I really want to, like say if I was a real critic about things, the game would be at 8.3 right now. So I would dock it a full point to bring it back down to 8.3, because after the halfway point things starts to become tedious. So realistically it's at a 8.3. So let's see where we are. Let me do a review. What the hell? Okay. Hold on. Let me... take care of these mofos first. So I need to know where exactly am I. Okay, I remember from the last video I completed all challenges. I got 3 batteries, or at least I got 3 points towards getting myself an extra battery. Now I have 2 batteries, so those are all set. So everything is exactly as it is before. I traversed to get to the platform that's going to lead to the icon of sin. Yeah, so let me do just a summing up of the game. I gave it points for maps, I gave it points for everything else, I gave it points for weapon swapping, I gave it points for fun factor, I gave it points for the different type of modifications that you have on weapons and how you could use them in combat. I gave it points for the fact that there's unlockables with regards to completing challenges in association with weapons. I gave it points for the unique weapon types, and I gave it points for I believe quick swapping. So I believe I've given it enough points with regards to the weapons themselves and how they're used in combat. And then I gave it points for regards to perks, with regards to the suits, and yeah, I think so. But I never gave it points with regards to attaining crystals to increase ruins. I never gave it points with regards to the effectiveness of ruins in certain situations, whereas it would be best to put on certain ruins in certain situations rather than other ruins in other situations. So I give it a point for having ruins and equipping ruins to give you an advantage over in the enemies. But I never give it points for consideration of the type of enemy location you will be in for the type of ruin that you should be using in those locations. For like the icon of sin, perhaps it would be best to, depending if he's going to be summoning enemies, I would probably need to, when I do a blood punch, to drop health so I won't die as much. But then you have to consider certain factors. Do I want to take off stagger time longer? Do I want to take off slow motion while in the air? Hell no. And do I want to take off faster glory kills? Because if I do a glory kill and I'm surrounded by enemies, I'm going to be taking damage while I'm trying to do a glory kill. So I have to do glory kills much faster. So would it be as important to do dropping health from blood punch? I would have to consider my surroundings in order to do this. And same as this, if I'm going to kill enemies with equipment to refill back equipment time faster, what do I want to get rid of? Glory kills, fast glory kills, or slowing down time? Do I really need to? The slow down time to me works, especially when you're trying to think what you're going to do in combat. Of course, fast glory kills work if you're surrounded by enemies, but if you space out the enemies, you don't really have to do fast glory kills. So increase staggers and see how long. And then there's this one, increase movement control in air. Now, but that could be bypassed, I believe. And then there's this one, launch to glory kills faster. And this one is gain speed boost after performing glory kills. So I'm thinking like if I perform a glory kill, if I have speed boost on, then I'll have to worry about doing faster glory kills, because as soon as I do glory kill, I could gain a speed boost from this. But do I really need a speed boost? If I have my jetpack on my, I'm assuming he has like a jetpack or something to make himself move forward faster, or or a booster in order to make his suit move faster. So do I really need that? Then this one is survive one death blow and briefly slow down time, giving you a chance to recover this ruin recharge on death. So this equals less death, and you're able to slow down time and concentrate. So I'm going to test this one out, and if this one doesn't work, then I'll switch back to the one I have. But I don't think I've unlocked it. See, the only ones I've unlocked is this one, this one, this one, equipment charge fill, and this one. Okay, so I'm going to replace faster glory kills with faster equipment fill recharge and see how that works. I'll see how that works. So I'm gonna give it another point for it. Like I said, I dropped it down to, or half point for it. I dropped it down to 8.3, but now I'm at 8.35 because with regards to ruins, I give it a point for ruins, but depending on the type of location you're fighting in, and type of enemy you're fighting, what you equip could be imperative and equal to more deaths or less deaths. So I give it a point for that. Same as your arsenal. What you're equipping on your arsenal could be equal to more deaths or less deaths. Not so much the suit, because everything is standard with regards to the suit, but it's more with regards to ruins and arsenal. So I'll give it a half point with regards to that, not a full point, because I already gave it a full point for having the ruin in the game. And with regards to codex, don't really need to give it a point for codex because I already gave it points for it. And challenges, those things have been present and identified. Weekly has been identified. Weapons have been identified. So everything in the game has been identified. And every time I seem to miss something or consider something or apply more focus to the something, I then say to myself, okay, this is good, but this is bad, such as too much traversal and too much fighting of the same thing becomes repetitive. That's bad. But then again, adding ruins with regards to certain situations, certain fights, decrease less time of you repeating those errors over again, which equals to what you're putting on to make your character survive longer or don't survive longer. So all those things have to be considered, and the map has already been identified, like I said before, and everything else, weapon swap and everything else have been identified, even with the rewards, the low perks, the unlockables, the collectibles, and also the cheats and other things. All those things have been identified already. So what's left in the game now for me to identify is the process of how all these things work in certain situations, and possibly what else is going to be present in the game past a certain point, past the halfway point or past the 75% marker, with regards to the story, with regards to everything else I stated, and with regards to fun factor. And also, there is one thing I did not give it a point for. So now I'm back up to 8.4. So I completely forgot. There are those, I gave it 1 point for having like a superpower type of uh, blood punch, like power up that they give you in a mission. But I never gave it a point for, I believe, a yellow one, and with regards to um, a red one. So I believe the yellow one is for faster gun killing, and the red one is for picking up more health, and the purple one is for you just to do blood punch one. So I gave it a point for blood punch, but I don't think I ever gave it a point for the red one or the yellow one. So I gave it a point with regards to this because those are very helpful in the game. Well, I'll give them more like half a point. So that's why I say I'm back up to 8.4, half a point, not a full point, because I didn't consider those either. Those are very helpful, and I'll even include the Crucible sword with regards to at each level they give you Crucible points, and they're indicated by an icon to say you have one Crucible sword that you could use within this area at a time. So I didn't give it points for Crucible. So now I'm up to 8.4. But I'm also going to say that I'm up to 8.5 because now that I think about it, I did not include the Crucible sword within the evaluation of the game. I know it has the Crucible sword, but I didn't include the Crucible sword and its uses when applying in combat towards enemy. You only run out of a Crucible weapon when you use it up to its max capacity over a certain period, and you're offered one Crucible point per each area or two per each area. So it's like using a BFG. You could only use it once. So you have the BFG, then you have the Crucible, and you can only use it once, and then you have to find another charge somewhere else in the mission. So that's also a weapon that I did not consider to give points for before. I gave it a points for it being in the game, but I didn't give it points for its usage and its charge time to be used in the game. So I'm up to a 8.5 with regards to the Crucible Sword, because the Crucible Sword can really save your ass when you're really down to the wire, especially when you're trying to fight a cyber demon and you're trying to fight let's say not a Rechnatron but a Hell Knight, and also variation Hell Knights, and Dooms, a Doom Hunter. If all three of those are within the mission, it's best to all nothing but heavies are in the mission. It's best to use the Crucible Sword. So now I'm at 8.5 with regards to the game. So I'm just going to keep playing. Okay, 8.6. I did not see that coming. A giant-sized brain thing in water. That's creepy as hell. So I never gave the game a points for its horror factor. I gave the game points for its environment, for its monster types, for the horror of the world around, but not for the creep factor in the game, which is totally different from including blood and guts and horror elements. So for the creep factor in the game, I never gave it points for. So I'm up to 8.6 now.
The Kahn Maykr is near. She cannot let you leave this place alive. She is invulnerable, but she has the orb within her chest. Once removed, her defenses will be down.
For millennia we have survived. Made others sacrifice in the name of our prosperity.
Oh shit.
So that they may in turn
Oh shit. This is the Kahn Maykr fight.
Who are you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna finish this today. This is like the near last boss fight. Oh, Jesus Christ. I had no idea this is the Kahn Maykr fight. Oh, Jesus. Okay, it says break the Kahn Maykr shield, and then blood punch her before she recovers. So I have to take down the shield first. It says to use the ballista to break the shield, and then switch to super shotgun to hook into her, and then blood punch her. So that's what I'm gonna use, just those two weapons. Oh, that took down some of the Kahn Maykr shields. Screw it, I'm gonna use whatever I can. Okay, never mind. I can't do it my way. As soon as the shields are down, she's gonna automatically try to recharge them, so I have to blood punch her before then. Okay. Yeah, I'm taking the points off from that shit. I'm taking a full fucking 4 points off for that shit. I repeatedly press the grappling hook before I press the shoot button. Multiple times. Multiple times. So the 8.4 is now dropped down to 8. This game is based on speed. If the speed of the mechanics and controllers is not fast enough, then that's a bad thing. The fact that you have to wait for your controller to catch up to your commands is shit. Because if I press the R2 button for grappling and then I press the L2 button afterwards, I guess that cancels it out. But here's the thing, that doesn't work with regards to everyone else you use the grapple hook on. In the game, it's shown if you press the grappling hook and you pull yourself forward and use a shotgun. But it didn't do that. It didn't do that at all. It canceled out the grappling hook because I pressed the R2 button. It canceled it out. So the whole mechanics of the game with regards to the Kahn Maykr fight was designed for you only to use the grappling hook and never to use the shotgun. So the whole time you're fighting her, you're thinking, if the same mechanics I use to hook on any enemies, including bosses in the game, the R2 button is not going to be a factor in it. So if you wanted to grapple hook forward and shoot the Kahn Maykr when you get close, the game says no, you have to grapple hook and blood punch. So the shoot button will cancel out the grappling hook. So by that standard alone, because the game didn't say this, but never said that, well, that's not technically the case, I could fully say that, okay, so that's my lack of understanding of what's going on in the fight, because it was very specific. You grapple hook and you blood punch, but you cannot grapple hook and do anything else, otherwise it'll cancel it out. But the game does not tell you within the little window that it will cancel out the shotgun if you press the R2. So rather than take 4 points off, because I realized part of it was due to my lack of understanding of the fight, I'm going to put it back to an 8.2. But because the whole thing was bullshit and it was pre-designed to not follow the standard mechanics of the game from the beginning of the game, from the moment, or I shouldn't say from the beginning, from the moment you got the super shotgun, everything you use a super shotgun for were designed to follow super shotgun rules. But the Kahn Maykr fight wasn't designed to follow those rules of the super shotgun. So nothing with regards to the super shotgun's design and its mechanics were supposed to follow those standards. There's an element of you're limited to use the super shotgun for the specific fight, which is not part of the rules of the super shotgun set in the game. So this was a specifically boss fight based on prerequisite attachments. That's what I could say. That is an attachment onto my super shotgun to cancel out the shoot button. That it was a design choice to fight her in a specific way and to limit how you use a gun, which is supposed to be used exactly the way the gun's supposed to use. So she was a specific type of fight that you have to specifically follow the rules, which canceled out partially part of the design of the shotgun. The shooting part of the shotgun isn't relevant to her. Grappling hook off the shotgun is relevant to her. So rather than take it all the way down to an 8, I'm only going to drop it 2 points, because the hook didn't work all the time either. even when I was pressing the hook, just to try to get the hook off. So unless I was pressing the hook and pressing the R2 button directly after, which means I was canceling out the whole time, that's something on me. But the game never stated that you can cancel it out in any fight prior to the Kahn Maykr. Like typically whenever I hook onto an enemy, whether I press the R2 button in mid-air in slow motion, it doesn't cancel out the grappling hook. You have to finish the hook, and then you can shoot thereafter in mid-air or afterwards. So the whole mechanics of the Kahn Maykr fight was completely different and completely set to be specific. Now I could give it a point for it being specific, but at the same time it destroys its own point. The Kahn Maykr fight is unique, and it's a unique boss fight. I give it a point for that. How you fight her is unique. I give it a point for that too. Well, I'll just give her 1 point for her fight being unique. But the fact that the shotgun is rules of the shotgun that 100% does not apply, only half rules of the shotgun is applied, I have to dock it a point for that. More than 1 point. Because at many points when I wasn't pressing the shoot button, I was just pressing the grappling hook button. The grappling hook didn't hook on at all. And I was thinking maybe directly if I press the hook on, the R2 doesn't work. It doesn't want to work. But it didn't do the hook half the time, even when I wasn't pressing close to the enemy to do the hook, like under the enemy or in front of the enemy. So unless the game is telling me the R2 button cancels it out, which it didn't say so, that's why I'm docking it 2 points, I could only assume that's the reason why, and why that fight dragged out. So yeah, I was at an 8.4 with regards to the game. I was at an 8.6 with regards to the game. And if I said I was going to drop it 4 points, which would have brought it to 8.2. But now that I think about it, partially that fight was due to my not understanding exactly what specifically I had to do. I was assuming that the shotgun would follow the rules of the shotgun, which the game say so. But her fight was specifically designed to be a set way that you cannot follow the rules of the shotgun. You have to follow the rules of the fight. So yeah, I think I'm back up to the 8.4 because I can't really drop it four fucking points, because half of that 4 points I would have dropped it is due to my lack of understanding the specifics of the fight. Or when I did understand the specifics of the fight, I did not understand that R2 cancels out the grappling hook because the game never stated. That's why I'm taking 2 points off and not 4 points, because it's partially the game's fault for not saying the R2 is going to cancel out your grappling hook, or the L2 doesn't grapple at a specific distance or under the enemy. You have to be right in front of them. So the game doesn't say that either. So I'm not going to take a full 4 points off from the 8.6. I'm only going to take 2 points off. That fight pisses me off, partially because of my lack of understanding of the fight, but also because it wasn't fully my fault. It's the game did not say, if you do this, this will cancel out this. At no point in the game has it ever said that. And that is something that needs to be addressed in future iterations of Doom games. Canceling out will do this. It didn't say anything about that with the grappling hook whatsoever throughout the entire game. That's why I was getting annoyed in that fight, because the grapple hook did not work when I wanted to, and I did not understand that the R2 would cancel out the L2 so that the grapple hook doesn't hook at all. But at many points I was doing just the hook itself, and it did not work because the command and receive of my PlayStation controller did not want to listen to me. So yeah, partially my fault, but in all truth, not really, because they didn't explain to me that there's a cancel out button with regards to the grapple hook. If you press it the R2 fast enough, it cancels out the L2. Didn't know that. And if that doesn't exist in the game, and specific for the Kahn Maykr fight, then she gets special treatment, unlike other bosses, which takes away the fun factor, because then she becomes Millennia. And everyone knows Millennia is a piece of shit in Elden Ring, because she gets special treatment.